Good morning, guys. Happy Monday. It's girl Sabby and I'm back for this week's video. So excuse my look because I kind of just woke up like an hour ago, but I wanted to start two new things this week. So for this week's video, it is obviously kind of relevant to the other videos that I've posted. The main concept of my page related to health, to fitness, and most of the posts that I already put out have been related to physical health. So this week I wanted to switch it up a bit and make a video about mental health because I really feel like it's often overlooked and it is equally as important as your physical health. So I am here to share my top tips or suggestions on self-care. And another thing that I wanted to try to introduce to my channel is something called Teatime with Sabby. So one of my really close girlfriends and I were kind of throwing ideas back and forth, and we came up with the idea to start a series on my channel called Teatime with Sabby. And it's basically going to be like discussing topics that you guys would choose, but ones that a lot of times we often could tell ourselves or we often know the answer to, but we just don't either speak it into existence enough or we just don't give it the acknowledgement it should have. So that was two new ideas for my channel. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, if they're good ideas or not. I don't want to waste my time and I really don't want to waste your time. So don't forget also to like this video if it is helpful to you guys, and of course don't forget to subscribe to my channel. But without further ado, let's get this video started. Okay, so tip number one for self-care is journaling. I know to some people that may seem like a very vulnerable thing to do, especially to those who aren't really the type to express themselves, to share their feelings or emotions, or really talk about it at all, but that's the beauty in it. So I was never really the type to journal until probably last year I got into it. And it just so happened that I was taking business notes in a nice looking book that you could call a journal. And as I was trying to take these business notes, I just kept getting distracted. My mind was going a million miles per minute, and I'm pretty sure my mind caps out at like 100. So I don't really know what's going on. But point is, I couldn't focus. I was so distracted. There was so many thoughts racing through my mind that I was starting to become overwhelmed. And my thoughts were consuming me, and I was ready to just panic. So for whatever reason, I just flipped the page and I just started writing. I just started freely writing with no purpose, no intro, body paragraph, conclusion. I'm pretty sure if my English professor would have graded this, I would have gotten an F, and I'm not an F student in English, or any language for that matter. But I just started kind of expressing myself and just allowing my thoughts to come to the surface. I was allowing myself to rid my mind of all the clutter and just put onto paper the thoughts that were racing through my mind that were causing me to be distracted in what I actually wanted to do. So after about 10 minutes of just writing and just letting everything flow out of my mind, I felt so relieved. And it wasn't even writing about confessing my love for somebody or writing about how I was so sad that I got into an argument with one of my friends. It wasn't even anything that personal or that emotional. It was literally just the fact that I had so many thoughts in my mind that there was no way I could focus on one thing. And by relieving myself of the 999 other thoughts that were irrelevant in that moment, it allowed me to kind of ground myself again and get back to what I was trying to do. So if that is something that you think would be beneficial to you, give it a shot. And honestly, if you think it's something that you typically wouldn't do, I would give it a shot even more so, because it's something that you're gonna step outside of the box a little bit and you may come to the realization that this is something that it could have benefited you all this time. And because maybe you didn't want to be vulnerable, or you didn't really have that, you had maybe a little bit too much ego or pride to, put your feelings on paper. Nobody has to see it. And you don't even have to see it. You don't even have to reread what you've written in it. I don't read any of the pages that I wrote about. It's just in the moment, I just need to let it out. So don't bottle things up. And if one way for you to alleviate that is by journaling, then go for it. But let's get to the next tip. All right, so if you guys follow me on Instagram, then you have probably seen me post about this before. You've probably even seen me do like a live video of me actually creating one. But the next self-care tip that I want to give to you guys is to make a vision board. And side note, if you're not following me on Instagram, maybe you should do that. So I'll link my Instagram tag in the description box below. You guys can follow me before or after this video because we don't want to interrupt valuable knowledge. But creating a vision board. So even if it's something as small as actually creating like a to-do list, let's say, anything that's going to put your ideas, your goals, your aspirations onto paper and therefore be the first step in trying to manifest those things, go for it. Do it. Don't hold back. Every year at the end of the year, I make a vision board for the following year, and I will put different categories on my board. And this allows me to kind of create smaller, more easily attainable goals. And then it also allows me to create goals that are not necessarily far-fetched, but they're just possibly going to take a little bit more time or a little bit more work to achieve. And by creating a visual representation of the things that you hope to obtain, you're, like I mentioned before, you're manifesting those ideas. And I really can't think of anything more beneficial than actually putting your words to action. So every year, like I said, at the end of the year, I make a vision board for the following year. And when I first started this, at the end of the first year after having made the board, I reflected and I looked at my board and I was like, wow, like, let me see what I accomplished. And I checked things off, and some obviously I wasn't able to check off, but I mean, it was beneficial for me to reflect on everything and kind of see where I grew and, you know, the achievements that I made and things that I kind of fell back on. But I felt like for whatever reason, throughout the year, I kind of lacked the motivation by waiting till the end of the year to reflect. So the following year, I decided that throughout the year, I would check things off as I had done them. And that to me was so much more helpful, just waking up every day, seeing this vision board, whether it's, you know, when I open my eyes and I look straight ahead from my bed, or when I go into the bathroom to get ready for the day, wherever I decided to hang it, just the fact that every day it was a constant reminder of the things that I want to achieve or the things that I have already achieved. It's a really good feeling to know that you either earned something or you're working hard to do so. And throughout the year, I would check things off little by little. So at the end of the year, I still was able to reflect on everything as a whole, but just being able to check things off throughout the journey, I guess, kind of gave me that extra push, that extra motivation to then conquer more of my goals on the board. Just seeing things being knocked off left and right gave me that drive to complete my board. So it's definitely one of my favorite self-care ideas because a lot of people like arts and crafts. Even though I'm like the least artistic person I know, I actually do enjoy making vision boards. And maybe it's just because I'm a really ambitious person, but I really feel like it's a beneficial thing to do for your mental health and just in general in life. So try that out. Let me know what you think, and let's get to the next tip. What is going on? Whoa. Okay, so for the next tip, it's kind of a basic answer. It's pretty obvious, I guess you could say, but pamper yourself. Whether you're a guy or a girl, I don't mean by pampering yourself, just go get your nails done or fall into retail therapy. I mean, I guess if that's what pampering yourself means to you, by all means, go for it. Me personally, I feel like when I am super stressed out, I'm overwhelmed, and I just want my body to relax and my mind to be at ease, I will start up a bath and either put bath salts in it, I'll put a bath bomb, maybe light a candle. There's so many different things that you can do to kind of create a peaceful atmosphere to just make the aura of that moment peace. I oftentimes too, if I'm really stressed out and I just want to literally cut out everything and be in my own little bubble, I'll throw in some meditation music or just anything with like a really relaxing tone, rhythm. I might even pour myself a glass or just drink a whole bottle of wine. Women have needs, you know? Maybe even brew a cup of tea if I feel like I want to stick to a better health regimen. But overall, just doing something that will put your mind and your body at ease is a really good thing for you. And going out, maybe getting a massage or maybe getting your hair done, anything that might boost your confidence. If you're starting to feel a little bit low, if your self-esteem just really isn't up there lately, do whatever it is that's going to pamper you and just make you feel rejuvenated. It's gonna make you feel fresh. It's gonna make you feel happy and just driven and ready to conquer it all. But that one's pretty simple, so I don't really need to go into depth with it. But that is, I think, like my third tip. I'm not really counting them. It's not like top 10, but let's just go to the next one. So for this next tip, I obviously mentioned before, especially being that my YouTube channel really is kind of revolved around fitness, I mentioned that your physical health is equally as important to your mental health. So obviously I'd like to kind of incorporate that in this video as well. I feel like going to the gym is my favorite way to exercise. It's my favorite way to release any stress, any toxins, mentally, physically. It's my escape. So if I'm feeling down or upset or angry, frustrated, whatever, I can go to the gym and I can release all of that negative energy. If I'm feeling like super motivated, super driven, super ambitious that day, I still can go to the gym and get the same type of benefit that I would if I was in a bad mood. So it's just a really great escape for me and just a really great atmosphere that I thrive in. And typically when I go to the gym, I like to try to set PRs and I try to max sometimes. And really I try to focus more so on my physical strength than my mental strength, but in a way, by challenging my body, I'm also challenging my mind, because there may be a set where I am like, okay, 10 reps, I'm done. But then I get to that 10th rep and my mind is telling my body, you can do another one. You can do another one. So I feel like there is a really good mental and physical connection when I'm working out, but one exercise or one type of exercising in like specifically that I really feel like there is a greater mental and physical connection, like a mind and body synchronization, is in yoga. I really wasn't a crazy like big fan about yoga before until I tried hot yoga, I think last year for the first time. And I really found like a new passion for it. So yoga is kind of like my self-care in physical form. Yes, I still receive benefits from going to the gym. It's obviously a form of self-care, but I feel like yoga is just another level. When I want to let out my frustration or to kind of drive up that motivation that I'm feeling, I'll go to the gym. But when I just feel like I need a break, I need my mind and my body to just be at peace, be in perfect harmony, that's when I choose to go to yoga. One of my favorite things about yoga too is that when I'm there, I don't really focus on trying to do the most. Like throughout the session, the instructors will tell you which pose to move into and so on and so forth. And I, in that moment, can decide if I want to progress to the next like movement or pose or whatever, or if I just want to stay in the position that I am in and allow my body to move freely as it wishes. So that's one thing I really like about yoga, is that you really do have a very, very strong connection between your mind and your body. And if my mind is saying, I'm comfortable here right now in this pose where I'm at, I feel liberated, I feel relaxed, then I choose to stay in that position. And then, you know, the instructor will give us another pose to do, and then I may choose to then follow that pose next. I don't really try to do personal records in yoga or like really try to show off and get all of the poses down. It's more so me just flowing and allowing my body to move at whatever pace my mind sets for it. And one of my favorite things about yoga is when at the end of the session, usually, at least at the place I go to, they practice breathing exercises with you at the end. So that is such a simple but beneficial tactic to self-care and just to mental health in general. I think that a lot of people overlook, including myself. We breathe on a daily, secondly basis, so we don't really put much thought into it. It's just out of habit. But I feel like when you actually sit and think about your breathing, and you tell yourself to inhale, you tell yourself to exhale, and you just literally focus on your breaths, it allows a different type of connection to be established between your thoughts and your energy and what you're feeling with like the feeling of your body, with what you're doing and how you're moving. And my favorite thing is that when I'm in this moment, I am completely in a bubble. Nothing else matters. Nothing else really exists. It's just me, my breathing. That's all I hear. That's all I think about. That's all I focus on. And it just brings a sense of peace, and I really can't think of any other word other than like just bringing you peace and just ease to your mind and to your body. So it's definitely one of my favorite things to do. Obviously, working out and doing yoga, they kind of have like their different benefits for me personally. Any type of exercise though, really, I think is a really great idea and something you should definitely incorporate into your lifestyle because it's going to benefit you both physically and mentally. So my next tip to you guys is a very, very important one. It definitely hits home with me, and it is to take a break from social media. So I mean that in multiple ways. I mean that in literally taking a break from social media, like deactivate your account or literally just don't go on it for a couple of days, for a week, however long you need to cleanse your body, cleanse your mind of what you're looking at on social media, what you're scrolling through. There's there's a setting on iPhones where you can decide like how much time you're allowed to spend on these apps on social media, and your phone will alert you when you've reached that limit. It'll basically block off your apps, and you can choose to ignore this. I probably shouldn't have told you that, but you can choose to just click okay and be done with it. And I feel like this was something that at first I was like, this is so sad that I have to do this, but now I'm just looking at it as I'm grateful that I acknowledged I'm grateful that I acknowledge the fact that I do spend too much time on social media, and I want to fix that bad habit. So that's another thing too, is try to be a little bit more positive with yourself. And oftentimes with social media, we get so wrapped up in this fake lifestyle that others seem to be living, and we think that their world and their life is overall perfect. But what we don't take into consideration is that hardly any of us post our bad experiences or just the bad in our life. Like, you're only seeing the good. You're only seeing that brand new car that someone bought. You're only seeing, the perfect body that this girl flaunts. But you don't necessarily see the work that she put in to get to that body, whether it was surgical or being in the gym 7 days a week. And the worst part about it is that, myself included, we will compare ourselves to these people for whatever they have over us and think that we're not enough because of that. And that's like one of the biggest, most detrimental things to our health, to compare ourselves to other people when the only person that we should ever compete with is ourselves. And I know it's so cheesy to say this, but the only person you need to be better than is you, than the person that you were yesterday. So as long as you are in this moment the best version of yourself, you don't need to drive the same car that this guy does. You don't need to have as much money as this person. You don't need to have the exact same body that one of your followers has. Who cares? Once you learn to accept who you are, where you come from, what you have, what you've accomplished, I feel like life starts to become a lot more peaceful. It starts to become a lot more rich and fulfilled. I myself, being in the modeling industry for 5 years, I definitely took a hit from this. And I would obsess over getting my follower count up. I would obsess over making sure my photos were absolutely perfect, to the extent that I would literally critique myself every single time I took a photo and be like, wow, you tried to do the pose that this model did and you completely failed at it. Or, wow, look at her jawline in this photo and you think you have that? As if. For what? To what benefit was it for me to compare myself to somebody else that I will never amount to, that I will never match up with, because I'm not that person? So I just feel like way too often we get either distracted by social media, that we neglect things that we could be doing that are more beneficial to our lives, like reading a book or studying a new language or meeting new people, socializing in real life. I can't tell you how obnoxious it is for people to try to ask you out on a date on social media. I think that's so cheesy. Have I said yes before though? I mean, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, social media literally takes over our lives at this point, and it's just such a sad thing to see, myself included. Like, I spend way too much time on social media, but that's why I fixed my settings on my phone, so we're working on it. But to prevent myself from continuing to ramble on, take your break from social media. It's okay if you lose a follower. It's okay if you don't have 13,000 followers. It's okay if that photo isn't perfect. If in that photo you're showing that you're happy or you're excited or you're on an adventure, if that photo depicts the exact emotion that you're feeling in that moment that you want to share with others, who cares about the filter? Who cares about the lighting? That's slightly a lie, because yes, I like to make sure my photos are on point, but at the end of the day, I'm not gonna criticize myself over petty little things. If the photo is exactly what it should be, then let it be. Don't try to change it. Don't try to perfect it. It's not gonna be perfect. So, next tip. Okay, so this self-care tip is actually kind of funny, and I'll explain why, but this one is to take alone time. Take time to yourself. Take a lazy day. Take a day off. It's okay. Did you hear that, Sabrina? It's okay to have a lazy day. I'm saying that as if like, okay, anyways. So take a break. Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't work, and have no time to play or relax. Yes, being ambitious, being driven and dedicated and just motivated is a really, really great quality to have, but not if all you're doing is burning yourself out. Not if it's at the expense of your physical and your mental health. And oftentimes, that's me. So, perfect example, it took me 3 days. Like, yes, videos take about a week to produce, from filming to editing to posting to prior to that coming up with the idea, whatever. But this video alone took me 3 days of recording, literally from start to finish, because I was either having 17 people text me at once, or having 19 other things to do that I couldn't figure out how to prioritize, or I started the video and then I had to go and do something because I realized I had an appointment. I was going to lose my mind. I'm not even kidding you. Pretty sure if you guys saw me on Instagram last night, I expressed that very clearly, but it's just funny that I have this as a self-care tip and I actually don't even follow it myself sometimes. So I'm really bad about giving myself a day off. I even said yesterday, I'm not gonna do anything. Like, I'm going to relax in my bed or just relax outside, wherever it may be. I'm not doing anything. That's a complete lie, because I woke up and I tried to record my YouTube video. I woke up and I did some things for my business that I'm getting into. And then I went to the gym. Like, I did so much. And I said I was gonna be lazy. How in any way, shape, or form is that being lazy? So I feel like oftentimes you may have to force yourself to take a day off or to take a break. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a full day. It doesn't have to be an extended amount of time. But just give your body the time that it's asking you. Listen to your body. When it tells you it can't do anymore, sometimes it's good to push, but not all the time. Sometimes you really do just need to take a step back and relax. Take things for what they are. Leave them in the position that they are. Things that are meant to be will still be. And not that you need to neglect your friends or neglect your family or whoever is kind of begging you or asking you of your time in that moment, but you need to prioritize yourself. I am the worst person to be giving this exact advice. Only this tip. All the other tips I vouch for, and I'm good at it. But I so often put everybody before myself, to the point where I will try to fit everybody's plans and ideas in the same week and somehow manage to get all of my stuff done. And I'm a very busy person. If you know me, you know. but I'll try to juggle it all. And at times it comes at the expense of me having to cancel plans with people. And then I just feel awful. I feel awful. I feel like I've disappointed them. I've let them down. And then it just makes matters 100 times worse. So my advice to you is to take a breath, take a break, relax, let your mind and your body breathe for a second, especially if you're always on the go and you're doing things nonstop, you're hanging out with people nonstop. Plus COVID is around, so we really shouldn't be hanging out with 9,000 people anyways, but that's another thing in and of itself. My advice to you is to just allow your body and your mind to tell you when it needs a break and listen. Last tip, let's get it. Okay, so this is my last self-care tip for you guys. Obviously, this isn't all of the things you can do, but it's just a couple that I kind of jotted down and I figured it'd be nice to share with you guys. So the last one is, simply put, or for lack of, a better title to this category or tip, and excuse my French, but inhale the good shit and exhale the bullshit. I feel like there's so many different ways to interpret this that I'm just gonna kind of give you like a couple different ways myself. So if you've followed along my modeling journey previously, I put out a video on it as to why I quit. If you guys haven't seen that, definitely check it out. I will put it in the description box below for you. It's a long video and it's a bit emotional, but it's me. It's a part of who I am and what I went through, and if you want to watch it, by all means, be my guest. I think it'd bring a lot of understanding for you and kind of allow you to get to know me a little bit better, which that's fun because I'm fun. So point is, for this tip, it's to not allow negative thoughts to consume you, to not cloud your judgment, to not take over and allow you to lose your train of thought, or to just impact you in such a significant way that, again, it consumes you. So don't let the negative comments slide. Don't accept them. Don't allow negative people into your life. The only thing that you should be bringing into your life or putting energy into is something positive, something that's going to benefit you. And for example, I know I used to be so hard on myself. When I say I used to be so negative and so nasty and so mean to myself, literally prime example, in my modeling video, I said how I just wanted to hug myself sometimes. Because looking back now at little 21-year-old or little 18-year-old Sabby, I just want to hug her. Like, I was so mean and so demanding of her, and like, I would just criticize, nitpick. If I looked in the mirror or if I took a photo, I would look at every single flaw. I would try to point out every flaw, whether it existed or not. I would try to critique myself and criticize myself and just tear myself down, because that's what the industry did to me. And I don't know, I guess it was like my tactic to better myself, to become the model I should be, and to be as good at posing as this model, or to have a jawline like this one. How am I gonna change my jawline unless I go get it done surgically? I can't. So I would try so hard to be the perfect model by mocking the other girls, like to the point that I lost sight of who I was. Like, I lost sight of what made me unique, that made me pretty or beautiful or feel confident. I did not feel an ounce of confidence when I was modeling at all. Now, do I feel like the most beautiful thing walking this planet? Absolutely not. And I still really suck at taking a compliment, because I typically tend to disagree. But I have learned to accept the fact that it's okay to be nice to yourself. It's okay to take a photo and not look absolutely perfect. It's okay if I take a photo and I don't really like the way my nose looks, but guess what? If that photo depicts the feeling that I am feeling in that moment, or I'm experiencing, and the photo depicts exactly what I want to share to other people or with other people, then the photo's perfect. What do you need to change about it? Sure, maybe add a filter, adjust the lighting, for aesthetics, but just all in all, what matters most in that photo or when I glance in the mirror is that I accept and I embrace what I see. Be right back. Okay. Dogs are no longer crazy. So my advice to you would be to be kind to yourself and to not stress so much about taking the most perfect picture or looking your absolute best. Yes, obviously you want to be the best version of yourself. So if there's something you don't like about yourself and you can change it, by all means, go for it. So like if you feel like maybe you're a little overweight or a little underweight, exercise, because it's gonna benefit you not only when you achieve the body goals that you set, but it's gonna benefit you because you're putting in work for your physical health. Now, if there's something about you that you want to change that maybe you can't do naturally, maybe you want to get some type of surgery done, even that's okay. The one thing that I will say though is that oftentimes a lot of females will go and get a surgical procedure done and then kind of hide it or try to act like they didn't do it. First of all, if you think I'm gonna go spend $8,000 getting my boobs done to not show y'all that, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and just be like boobs all over my Instagram, but what the heck would be the point in me going and spending that much money for me to try to hide the fact that I got it done? Oh no, sister, I will be popping in my bathing suits. I'll be like, what's up, new boobs, who's this? But I feel like if there's something you don't like about yourself, it's okay to want to change it, but the only way I would condone that or say go for it is if you accept the fact that whether you do get the surgery done or not, whether you do, decide to hit the gym or change your diet or change your mindset or your personality or whatever it is that you're trying to fix or better or improve, that you still accept yourself for who you are. That if it's really not an actual flaw and it's just something you don't like about yourself, then to learn to accept the fact that you're not perfect and there's absolutely always room for improvement, but not necessarily to be satisfied with who you are, but just be content and be accepting and be loving of yourself. Because let me tell you, sister, self-love is the number one self-care tip I could give you. And maybe that's what the title of this little spiel should have been, or this tip, because I mean, honestly, that could be like an entire talk or topic itself, like literally have a discussion on it. But that really changed a lot for me. Learning to love myself and just accept myself as I was, flaws and all, made me realize that maybe I don't have as many flaws as I actually think or I try to point out. Maybe I literally make them up as I go and they're not even really there. So learn to love yourself and learn to be kind to yourself, because there's only one you and you only have one mind, you only have one body, and you're stuck with it for the rest of the year. So friends may come and go, family may come and go, boyfriends will definitely come and go, but you will always be stuck with yourself. So you gotta be the best friend, the best companion, the best advice giver, the best support system to yourself possible. Or at the end of the day, truthfully, no matter how many friends you have or family members, you have no one. So I will leave this video on that note. I hope these tips were beneficial to you guys and that they help you out in some way, shape, or form. I hope you guys liked this video. I was debating on doing it just to begin with because I felt like it'd be a lot of talking. And if you know me, you know I could probably ramble on and go on for hours. This video will definitely be long. But I just felt like it was a really important subject to touch base on. And it related to the type of videos I typically produce and put out. But it was one that maybe not many others share, or it's not as commonly put out there. And I feel like it's really important that people try to balance both their mental health and their physical health, because all in all, to have them synchronized with one another, that's when you can really be the best version of yourself. So hope you guys enjoy your Monday. I hope you have a fantastic week, that it's super productive, or that it's super lazy if you need that too, and that you take care of yourself, you take care of your mind, you take care of your body, and that you watch the rest of my videos on my channel. Yeah. So until the next video for next week, stay hustling and stay humble, and I'll catch you later.